We have a lot of news to discuss, a couple of trade talks. We're getting into Kyle Lowry. We're also talking about an update with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks situation that's been going on for a while. And then finally, we're also getting into a referee who admitted to doing something very, very bad. We're going to break all that down in just a second. Before we do, subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and share this video with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. Now, I see you guys are getting started early in the chat, but keep it coming because it's Thursday. Tomorrow is Fan or Foe. So we're going to be reading your comments. So if you've got any questions for us or any clapbacks for us, if you think I'm the female version of Stephen A. Smith, which I'm going to take as a compliment, put all that in the chat. We're going to screen grab all that, and we're going to see who is our fan of the week tomorrow on Fan or Foe. Yeah, that face is classic because that's exactly what I did as well.
I don't see the Stephen A. Smith comparison, but yes, we'll wait till Fan or Foe tomorrow for you to address that, Jackie. I'm really glad that you reminded them of Fan or Foe because I was going to forget to. So at the end of the show tomorrow, you guys, we're going to be getting into all of the comments that you give us. I feel like we have had a lot this week from you guys. There have been quite a few trolls in there, but we've also gotten some nice ones. So we'll be discussing all of it. But today, be on your A-game, chat, because this is when we're really going to be screenshotting and snapping pictures of the things that you have to say. So make sure you say something intelligent because it might end up in Fan or Foe. All right, well, I think we should just jump right into the news today. Lots going on with Kyle Lowry. So in the post-up, Jackie is going to talk a little bit more in detail about how he reacted after the game last night. She has a video for you, but basically what I can say is that he was emotional. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how Ryan Russillo said that Kyle Lowry has been claiming for about a month now that he is getting traded. He says it like it's a fact. Like there's no question about it. At the time, Ryan Russillo was not sure if it was something that he had already discussed with the front office, if it was just a feeling that he had, if he was asking for a trade. Like the details were a little bit fuzzy. But as the NBA trade deadline approaches, which is tonight, Kyle Lowry is easily the best player that's going to be available, and he reportedly wants any potential new team to acknowledge that. Now, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, he wants some indication that any team trading for him would be willing to give him a 2-year contract extension starting at around $25 million per year. The Sixers and the Heat appear to be front runners, but the Lakers have emerged as a potential kind of like sleeper team for Kyle to end up, which, Jackie, I think you're excited about that option. Now, the Heat are comfortable giving up their impending restricted free agent Duncan Robinson to get Kyle, but the sticking point in negotiations is Tyler Hero. The Lakers are reportedly willing to give up Trez, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Dennis Schroeder. The Sixers are ready to let go of Matisse Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey. So let's break this down. Let's first talk about the Sixers here. Can a big four consisting of Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and Kyle Lowry actually pose a threat to the Brooklyn Nets?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think the 76ers got a lot of other problems outside of that to pose a threat. We talked about that yesterday with the chemistry that we did not think that they would have, that they are having, and they're all immensely talented. I don't think the addition of Kyle Lowry all of a sudden puts them in contention with them. I think it helps their situation. Obviously, Kyle Lowry is an immense talent himself, and he is just he has a lot of intangibles as well, things that we're not even going to see on a stat card or something like that. He's very much a leader. He pulls people together. It's really sad to see him go because I know he's where he wants to be, and it's unfortunate that he can't continue on there. But sometimes when you shake things up, you get a much better outcome anyway. So I don't know. I like you said, I love Kyle. So him coming to the Lakers, if that's a possibility, I'm with that. But I also been saying that Kawhi has been yelling, we need a point guard for a very long time. And here's this available point guard that he actually has a relationship with. So to me, the fact that the Clippers haven't even emerged as a possibility is a little weird to me, because this is actually a need that they have. I haven't looked at where they are financially, so I don't know if they can afford that $25 million a year, which I also think is a very, very reasonable ask. I think any team should reasonably want to give him that. So if he came to the Lakers, I'd be good with that. If he went to the Sixers, I think that would be good for him and the team, but that does not automatically put them in contentions with the Nets, because the Nets are out here in beast mode, and they have everybody on that squad is dope in their own right. And so, no, I don't think that puts them in contention with the Nets at all, unfortunately, because I would love somebody to bring them down.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
that's a big statement, Jackie. But I think you're right, because we are seeing James Harden and Kyrie. I mean, really, we're seeing James Harden dominate with the Nets. And then, as we talked about yesterday, KD is kind of chilling out on the side, waiting for his moment to jump in and shine and come back well rested and energized. So that alone, I think, is threatening to any team in the NBA, on top of the success that the Nets are already having. Now, like I mentioned, the Lakers are willing to give up Trez and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Dennis Schroeder. Do you think that that would be worth it to get Kyle Lowry over here to LA?
No. I love Trez so much, and I'm not ready to see him go. And it's funny because I really liked him when he was on the Clippers, but I wasn't going to say I loved him because he's on the Clippers. But I'm just not, like, I really, really love our squad. I understand that we have these injuries and things that we really have to make some strong decisions about. I don't know if that strong decision means shipping off Trez for Kyle Lowry. I love Kyle, but I just don't think that he automatically gets us out of these troubled waters that we're in. I just don't think he does that. And if you're going to start shipping guys off, then whoever you get for Trez and anybody else, they have to be somebody who calms the waters, because right now we are in troubled waters, and Kyle does not do that. So if he's not going to come in here and automatically do that, then no, I am very anti-shipping anyone off right now. I'm not, let me rephrase that. I'm not anti-shipping anyone off if they change the tide, if that makes sense. Kyle Lowry doesn't do that, so I would be very anti him coming in exchange for Trez or anybody. So no, that's a no for me. Again, I don't have any say in this, but it has to be an immediate. When you make trades during the trade deadline, the reason why you make those trades is because you're expecting an immediate shift, and this does not create that. So this would not be a trade that I would expect the higher ups to make. Now, I see you in the chat. Gasol can go for sure. I've been ready. About 3 days after he got here, I was ready for Marc Gasol to get out. So if we can figure out a trade for Marc Gasol, yes, he can go for sure. And I'm sure we can send some other guys as well. But I'm just not putting Trez on the chopping block to get anybody right now. But that's just me.
Yeah. I think that's a good take, Jackie. I agree with you on that one. And like I mentioned, the Sixers and the Heat are turning out to be the more obvious avenues for Kyle Lowry to take. But I think it's actually looking like the Sixers are going to be the most likely, because the Heat they're not wanting to give up Tyler Hero. They are willing to give up Duncan Robinson, but I think with the Sixers, they have more cap space to sign Kyle Lowry. How do you like the idea of him heading to Miami, though? Do you think that could be a good fit, better than the Sixers, even if it may not happen?
See, I don't like the Sixers move. I know I see everybody in the chat is very pro the Sixers moves. And even before the show, we were talking with our producer, and she was like, yeah, but Ben Simmons doesn't shoot. They play the same position. I really like Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons is good at what he does. And I know that we have a feeling about that because the outside shot is so pivotal now to the game, and he just refuses to take it. But he does, again, add a lot of things. So I don't really know how I feel about Kyle going to an organization where Ben Simmons is there and they play the same position. On the flip side, I think Jimmy Butler with Kyle Lowry is amazing. And Tyler Hero had that hero season and then is kind of just nah. So, I think that this would be a very good addition for Jimmy. And Jimmy, we said for years, not by we, I mean everybody else that wasn't me and probably Arthur, our producer, have called Jimmy toxic, but he's always been an asset to his teammates. And Kyle is going to be sad for a couple weeks no matter where he goes. And I think Jimmy Butler is going to be the guy that immediately snatches at him out of that, and then his game would immediately elevate. So as far as what would be good for not only Kyle and for the team, I think Miami is that. So if there's one place that I would really want him to go, I think Miami is the best fit for him personally and professionally. I think the need is with the Clippers, but I have seen more people say that it's probably going to end up be the 76ers. But if it was up to me, my two landing spots for him would be Miami and the Clippers. So that would be my two landing spots for him.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're not hearing more about the Clippers. It's really what's dominating conversations are Sixers, Heat, and Lakers as potential trade destinations for Kyle Lowry. But that NBA trade deadline is tonight, so we'll be figuring out where he's going soon. And in just a second, Jackie is going to be telling you guys more about how Kyle was behaving after the game last night. But for now, let's move on to some football news. So we've been following this Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks story very closely. And it sort of may seem like those rumors of tension and drama are possibly done. Russell initially wanted to be traded because the team wasn't willing to let him have more involvement in their decision-making process, and they weren't giving him what he needed to really be successful. But now he posted a tweet that actually kind of seems to contradict the idea that he's ready to leave Seattle. So he is a big fan of Seattle's latest signing. So as you can see, they re-signed Benson and Kerry Hyder, and he tweeted, "Let's go. Benny Boy 10 back, Kerry Hyder 2." So he was excited about it. He seems to be, I was trying to do I read the actual names or the usernames? But yeah, so it seems like, they're going to both be key members of the Seahawks defense. And Russell Wilson is happy about it. And one of their priorities this offseason was to do what they could to make Russell happy. And it appears that they've done so by signing these two guys. So, Jackie, do you think this tweet means anything, or is Russell just trying to be supportive of his teammates if he is going to be staying in Seattle?
Nah, this would have come if Russell had ended up traded right now, and we knew for sure he was on another team. This tweet still goes out because he's still the guy that is very supportive of his teammates. He is just an all-around good dude, and he's going to always offer support where and if he can. So we would still see this tweet, and it would be phrased different. It might just be like, "Hey, congratulations. Hope you guys do great. Have a great season." It would have been phrased different. We obviously know he wants to stay in Seattle. That's always been a given. Everyone has known that. It was the relationships, and I'm still not on the team. Okay, yeah, he's staying because we haven't heard anything about the relationship between he and Pete Carroll being worked out. I know the last thing he really talked about is he wanted Antonio Brown on the squad, and I don't think that's going to happen. But we haven't really seen anything he wants as far as let's get some shifts in this offense. Let's build things up differently. I know he's excited about the signing of these two guys, but that doesn't reflect anything on what his core problems were with the team. So I just don't think that this means anything. It just means that what we already know. Russ is a good guy. He cares about his teammates. He cares about people, and he's going to wish them well. So I see, especially if you're a Seahawks fan, I see why you're going, whew, okay, everything all is well. I understand that sigh of relief. I just don't know if you shouldn't still be holding your breath just a little bit, because until you hear for sure everything is worked out, I just don't know if you can believe that right this second.
So then what do you anticipate is coming up for Russell Wilson then? Do you think he is going to be staying and so he is trying to play it cool, or do you think that there is still potential that he'll be on his way out?
Again, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They're not telling us, which again, you guys know how I operate. I'm a fan of that. You keep your business, especially when there's a little bit of tension involved in it. You keep that behind closed doors, you work it out, and then you come to us when it's resolved. All of this back and forth that they're probably doing right now between Russ and his agent and Russ and Pete Carroll, we don't need to know about that. If I had to guess from what I know of Pete Carroll and from what I know of Russell Wilson, I would guess that the talks are probably going well because they're both two men that are very level-headed. that love the game and that really love the Seahawks and want that team to succeed. So I would imagine on some level those talks are going great. So if I had to put my money someplace, I would put my money on Russ staying in Seattle. Just because even if you're Russell, you sit back and you kind of look at the options, and the options don't mean that you're automatically going to be in the contention for a Super Bowl. You can fix things in Seattle and be in contention for a Super Bowl. So it just doesn't make sense for him to decide to want to leave. So especially when you're talking about like the Raiders and the Jets, stop it. No, you stay in Seattle if those are your main two options. So ultimately, I do think they'll work it out, but I just don't know how close or how far they are from it because they're being very professional and not saying anything. But ultimately, I would say he's staying in Seattle. He loves Seattle, and he wants to stay there. So I think he'll stay.
In the chat, we have Suleiman. I'm not trying to say his name. Well, Jeremiah says if he stays, he's a dumbass. Suleiman says Russell is staying. Gary thinks he's leaving. It doesn't seem like anybody is really on the same page here, but one thing that we did discuss with this Russell Wilson Seahawks drama is that based on the rumors that we heard about, Russell storming out of meetings and, things getting really kind of aggravated and tense over there, it felt very out of character for Russell. So it does, to me, that does speak to the fact that tensions were running very high. But I think this tweet shows that he is kind of able to, he is kind of finding some way to be okay with whatever happens. He's trying to be still that supportive, happy guy that we know him to be. And maybe the tension is dying down between him and the team. And I feel like if I had to guess, I would say he's staying in Seattle as well, just because those options that you mentioned, Jackie, they're just not compelling enough, I don't think. So let's move on. I feel like 2021 has been the year of the annoying referee, and this latest story definitely proves that. Refs have always been kind of annoying, but I feel like just in recent months, it's gotten a lot worse. This guy, Tim Peel, is out of a job this week after he was heard on a hot mic admitting that he was looking to call a penalty against the Nashville Predators in their game against the Detroit Red Wings on Tuesday night. So this is hockey. I have a clip of the moment where he actually says it right here. So Leo, can we throw that up?
It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a fucking penalty against Nashville early in the...
Excuse me? What? I mean, he just completely admitted it, did not realize that his mic was hot. Now, here's the thing. When you're working in any sort of setting where you have a mic clipped onto you, you have a boom microphone overhead, you always assume those mics are on and recording. You always assume that somebody can hear you because that happens so often, so you got to be careful of what you say. This guy got way too bold. Didn't think that his mic was on, definitely was on, and we heard it all. So the NHL Director of Hockey Operations, Colin Campbell, said the league was investigating the incident, and then yesterday they announced that he would no longer be working in any games now or in the future. So he is completely out of a job. Jackie, do you think that this was a one-off situation, or do refs do this in general across all sports leagues?
Oh yeah, it definitely happens all the time. This is just the first time he got caught. And as a person who's played and as a person who has sat courtside a lot, I've heard refs say, oh, he got one more time and I'm gonna tech him. And it's like, oh, just because you don't get to do that, and that's why I think you see a lot of these random techs. I'm a Saints fan, so y'all know how many times it looks like the refs just had it in for us for absolutely no reason. And this is the problem, though. This is one of those things where I feel like you really do have to. You probably should mic the refs more often. That's number one, because if you mic them more often, they would probably get caught more often, and then we could kind of start weeding these people out. That's number one. Number two, I've always said it's important to kind of look at somebody's social media, because I've seen a lot of refs when you go to their social media, then all of a sudden they might have like one team. They'll try to make it seem like they're not, a fan or whatever, and they'll put a lot, but they'll have more than. Like if they're a Cowboy fan or something, you'll see a lot more Cowboy stuff than you see anybody else. And so your fan, and I'm not even trying to say that's a bad thing, because it's it's who you are as people. If you have a fan, if you're a favorite, somebody is your favorite, you're going to favor them. And then if somebody from the other team kind of pisses you off, it is what it is. This specific penalty, I think, was more of him just having a feeling about the team more than the person. But either way, it's inappropriate. At what point do you say to yourself, okay, like he said, he knew it wasn't much. So you always should talk to yourself. If your first thing is, okay, that's not much, let me not be a jerk and just do this. Let me do my job and let me do it well, instead of just wielding my power to influence this game. And I think that's what refs really miss. And that's why fans don't like them that much, because obviously those of us who've been watching any sport for a length of time, we understand that penalties are part of the game, and sometimes penalties need to be called specifically to keep people safe. So I don't think fans have a problem with the penalties per se. They have a problem with refs impacting the game. So if you really want to be good at what you're doing, then you do have to take that mental beat, and you do have to be professional and say, I really want to stick it to this guy, or I really want to stick it to this team, and then just not make the call. Because it's I see Gary in the chat says it's because the Saints are dirty as hell. No, we had one moment in time when we were dirty, and whatever your team is, I guarantee they did too. They just didn't get caught. And that's the thing. This ref got caught. So it's not about what you do, because I think everybody has done this on some level. Every ref has done this on some level. This is the guy that got caught. But we've seen it. We've seen players or refs call things on players, and everybody's looking at themselves like, what? Even Kyrie on that technical that happened, he said, that it was a good play, but it went his way. Mm-hmm. But you even when you're on the other team, you have to realize, like, this is just bad. This is just really bad. But refs just have too much impact on the game, and that's the part that pisses everybody off. We don't mind the calls. We mind the calls that have an impact on the game, where everybody is a head scratcher. And I've always been the one that says, hey, when you get down to the last minute of a game, just let them play. Unless somebody is really committing some sort of flagrant foul, let them play. Don't be the one that impacts the game. You're not assigned to a team. Do not be the person that impacts the game.
I think that's a good rule of thumb for refs to follow too, Jackie, just because it really can change the course of the game so much. And, if they're doing it out of a bias, that's just really wrong. And I know it's impossible to completely avoid a bias, but man, it's not a good look for sure. And I think that now that we have this actual footage of a ref saying something like this in a hot mic, it just makes athletes and fans all the more skeptical of referees and the calls that they make. So very interesting update. Kind of glad it happened, because hopefully it'll cause everybody to be on their A game now when they are officiating games in other leagues, because nobody wants to be like Tim Peel here, who's out of a job now. Really quickly, before we move on into the post-up, I want to mention that the Orlando Magic are actually progressing on a trade to send Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. Jackie, any reaction to that?
That wasn't even a trade that was on my radar to watch out for. So
it's actually confirmed now. It's fully confirmed now. It's actually happening. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I have to dive into that. I'm watching a lot of trades. That was not one that I've been thinking about. The Nuggets in general just aren't a team that and even though I'm from Denver, it's not a team that I think about often. I think it'll be a good look for them though. I got to really hone in on what his impact is going to be there, because the Denver Nuggets have a good thing going on there too, a little bit. So I just got to kind of hone in on that and see. But congratulations, I guess. What was the deal? Do you know? Does it say? Does it say what the deal was? I don't have that in front of me right now. No,
okay. Not yet. But interesting update. There's details that are still coming out, and if anything happens throughout the show that is worth mentioning, I'll be sure to bring it up to you guys so we can all be in the know. But for now, Jackie, will you move us into the post-up?
Yes, going into the post-up, I'm excited about this. I am excited about the trade. I saw somebody in the chat corrected us. It's 3 p.m. East Coast time, 12 o'clock our time is when the trade deadline is. So interesting to see. I'm glad you guys updated us about that Nugget situation, because this is going to be fun. All eyes, though, are obviously on Kyle Lowry. So, if we get a notification about that, we'll have to stop what we're doing and discuss that, because all eyes are definitely on him, and rightfully so. This is another one of those sad moments, because this is a guy that really wants to be where he is. He's a good guy. He loves that city. He's been very impactful to that to that organization and that city. And so watching this walk and him get really emotional and give what probably is his last peace out sign is very, very touching. So take a look.
Has been everything we expected and more. And the reason you say that he is the greatest Raptor of all time is because he really is. And what he has done for this community on an annual basis and what he has done for this team to bring them to a championship.
You wonder if that is the final walk.
That's depressing. I'm so sorry. That is so depressing to me because, but this is one of those reasons why your loyalty has to go as far as what's best for you, because the team is always going to do what's best for them. And, the Raptors really are in a rebuild right now, and they can get a lot for him. And I'm sure they want to get what they can for him so they can continue this rebuild. It's just unfortunate that he doesn't get to be a part of it, especially since that's where he wants to be. So a lot of people had a few remarks about, this situation on Twitter. Of course, you would expect that. I'm going to miss this guy so much. Greatest Raptor of all time. And this was pretty much the consensus on Twitter. Everyone was just kind of sad to see him go, which it's a testament to who he is, because everyone is heartfelt about this. And this Steph Curry burner, I love this. That's your name. But he says his face says it all. I'm 90% sure he's getting traded. And I think the good thing about this is this isn't a situation where we know this guy loves this organization and then he's traded just out of the blue. There's obviously a level of respect there, and the Raptors have been in contact with his agent and have been very clear on what they're doing. So there's obviously a level of respect there, and I appreciate that. I hate that underhanded stuff where it kind of just sneaks up on you, but still, this is very sad to see. Devin, what did you think seeing him walk down that tunnel?
Oh yeah, it's heartbreaking to see that. You can tell that he's very upset about it, and I don't know if you're planning on getting into this, but in a post-game interview, he also talked about how everything just felt different. I'm so sorry if I'm jumping ahead here, Jackie, if you were planning on discussing that.
No, I don't have that, so go ahead.
Oh yeah, he said that everything felt different. It was weird, not really knowing what was going to happen and the potential of him to leave Toronto. And he obviously really cares about that city deeply. He loves that organization. So it is sad, but hopefully wherever he goes, it'll put him one step closer to winning another ring, because that I think would make it all worth it for him.
Yeah, I actually saw that interview and he was emotional in that one too. And then Drake called him during that interview. So obviously this man gets a lot of love across the board, and I think it's warranted. I saw somebody in the chat say something disrespectful, call him a fat butt, but it's a bubble butt. First of all, get it right. And bubble butts are a thing. I love the bubble butt. So don't be clowning my boy Kyle now, because that's just not what we're doing today. So that is a sad note, but let's go on to this moment in time is one of those things as a woman, you have to kind of take a step back and take a deep breath. Because I remember when I first told my dad I wanted to get into sports, and he was like, oh, best you can hope for is a sideline reporter job. And that wasn't him being discouraging. It was just the time that we live in. And so to see what I'm about to show you right now, and an all-woman squad from the desk to the box to the sideline, this is the dopest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I can't say enough good things about this. So take a look.
Welcome to a little bit of history. It is the first ever all-female broadcast. Myself, Amy Otterberg, Kaylin Gray, Megan McPeak, and also the one and only Kia Nurse. We are thrilled to bring you the Nuggets taking on the Raptors tonight. And
the dopest thing. And I love how they immediately, we got cut off, but she said, hey, for the little girls out there who are watching this, you know what, Leo, can we run it back? I really just need people to hear what she said. We can cut it off after that because I know it's a little long.
Please dream what we do best, and that is talk basketball in just a moment. But as I said, we are thrilled to be here tonight, and very quickly, to every young girl watching this broadcast tonight, we hope you love seeing the five of us do this. Know you can do absolutely anything, and please dream big. Thrilled to welcome in the two women.
I love that. I mean, she took the time to acknowledge, and that's the thing that I love when I see stuff like this. Don't just gloss over when you're the first to do something, because you need to acknowledge that moment in time, and you need to say how special and how unheard of it is. And you need to instill that into young girls everywhere, that, hey, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you're into basketball and you're watching all these male dominated, sportscasts. Look at us. You can do this. This is an amazing thing. I've of course seen the sideline, and then, we have Doris Burke sometimes in the box, and that's great. But I've never seen this in my life. And this is the most amazing thing for me personally. Devin, I know it has to be amazing for you too. This is just, and for her to take that moment in time and to acknowledge it, just shouts out to these women. This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, watching that gave me chills, and it made me almost feel a little bit like tearful. I don't know. It means a lot to see women doing things that, traditionally have been a boys' club, and sports in general has been such a boys' club. So I'm really proud of these women for being able to make it there. They fought for their seat at the table, and it is proof that, we can do anything, and times are changing slowly but surely. Things are I think becoming slightly more equal, and that makes me very happy to see. I love that.
Yeah, so they are definitely paving the way for young girls coming up after them. So shouts out to you guys, and shouts out. I think it's so fitting that it happened with the Raptors. And last night when we're talking about, this guy that's been such an asset to that city and to that organization. Perfect timing. So well done, ladies. Well done, Raptors. I love this. But let's move on to this next one, because this next one, I don't know if you guys missed it, because you might have, because they did a good job in glossing over it. But PASCAL Siakam was fined $50,000, you guys, for a conversation that probably had a lot of 4-letter adjectives in the conversation directed towards Nick Nurse. So it got very, very heated, and Nick Nurse ended up taking off his mask and shouting, and they were literally shouting at each other. So I don't know exactly what was said. I tried to go find the video, couldn't find it, but it was heated for sure. So like I said, it happened on the floor when the Raptors were leaving. And then so at the last game and in the post game, a reporter specifically asked Nick Nurse, has he connected with PASCAL, and what is it like now? And let me tell you something. Nick Nurse does not have a poker face. So if you want to play poker with somebody and take all their money, play with Nick Nurse, because things are still not well in that locker room. And I can tell you that just by looking at his face. So take a look.
Yeah, of course I've connected with him, Michael. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm coaching PASCAL. It was not awkward one bit coaching him the next night. That's where we are.
I see Gary in the chat said they refuted it, though. Did they? Because that whole post game was like, why he had to ask me about this? I don't even want to talk about this fool. He get on my nerves. That's his whole face. They still beefing. I don't care what anybody says. They still beefing. Devin, do you think I'm wrong about that one?
Oh, no, there is for sure animosity there between the two of them. I mean, that reaction says it all. The kind of look off to the side, like he was really trying to just answer that in the most politically correct way possible. I think he did a pretty good job considering the circumstances. Obviously, you can tell that there's annoyance and frustration there, but I think what he said was the exact right response in that kind of for that kind of question. But yeah, you can definitely tell there is drama going on there.
Yeah, they're not riding home together. Somebody drove. One of them's not getting on that bus. I know they was home, but you know what I'm saying. But let's go on to this next one, because yesterday, you guys know, I refused to speak against or argue a point that Magic Johnson makes. I just won't do it. He's the greatest point guard of all time. I'm not going to argue with that man, even though deep in my heart I disagree. Charles Barkley, on the other hand, I will argue with, kind of. Probably not a lot, but look at who he thinks is the greatest. Y'all just go ahead while I'm kind of talking. Put who you think the greatest basketball player in the league is right now, and then let me let you see what Charles Barkley says.
Right now, no disrespect to LeBron or Giannis or anybody, James Harden might be the best basketball player in the world. Period.
Okay. I mean, I don't have. He went on to say that he plays every position on the floor great, that he scores amazingly. He leaves out the fact that historically James Harden disappears during the playoffs, and he leaves out the fact that he's not an asset to his teammates and that he doesn't build them up, which I think are all assets that you kind of need to be considered greatest, best, whatever basketball player in the league right now. I think he's going strictly off of his scoring. And if that's what he's going on, if he's going strictly on his scoring, I'm with it. The man is consistently a beast as far as his scoring. I agree with Gary Tober on this one. He says James Harden struggles to run down the court sometimes. And we had some people that clap back as well. He says you can't be that great offensively and not have a mid-range in your bag. I said what I said. So I kind of agree with this point, and I kind of don't, because I also think that Ben Simmons is very good what he does, and he doesn't have a three-point shot in his arsenal. So he's better at the mid-range. But, you know, people argued back at it and said that that's not necessarily true in this next tweet. This guy says, why not? The mid-range game is completely antiquated. If you're not going to take a three, then take a layup. In between is low percentage junk that should have been left in the last century. And this one guy said, no, the Warriors changed that. And I agree. He said the Warriors were the best mid-range shooting team in the league during their title runs. Kawhi carried the Raptors closing out games using a mid-range. He's also missed a lot of mid-ranges in clutch situations, but let's move on. AD was shooting the mid-range at all times. So he's just saying the mid-range is a thing. And you guys know, if you guys are new here, maybe you don't know, I love James Harden. But best basketball player right now? That's a no for me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a no for me. Devin, what about you?
Well, I mean, I think that if he is talking specifically about scoring, it needed to be the best scorer right now, not the best player all around. I mean, I think that we can name several players who are better all around players than James Harden. So I'm not really sure what Charles Barkley is thinking here, but he says stuff a lot that has us kind of like, what? So I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, no. And I would have been surprised if he said something that I actually agreed with, because that would be new. But this ain't it. So let's move on to this next one, because it turns out that I love Candace Parker. I mean, I loved her before, but now that she's here with Shaq, I love her even more. I love the dynamic between the two of them, because she always checking my boy. And he clearly doesn't know much about the WNBA or Candace Parker and all that she did playing in the WNBA. And so she had to let him know. Take a look.
Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Candace Parker. Your thoughts?
You were Defensive Player of the Year?
Take the surprise out your voice, Shaq.
We got a court right over there. She always bullying me, see, man. Every show she be bullying me.
Not a bully.
Thinking out your voice.
She does be bullying Shaq. Let's be clear. She does bully Shaq every single night. But I'm okay with it. I don't have anything else to say other than, she be bullying him. But he deserves it. And it seems to be all in fun. So I actually really love this dynamic between the two of them. And it's cool. And this next moment in time is super cool as well. I'm going to share a personal fact about myself. Don't laugh. Don't judge me. I still watch Sesame Street. I freaking love Sesame Street. It's one of I freaking love Sesame Street.
Jackie!
I do.
I don't even think my 4-year-old nephew watches Sesame Street anymore. So I need a little explanation here.
When I was a kid, I used to have a crush on Oscar, and it's just never gone away. Oscar's my guy. So I still watch Sesame Street. I also still watch Jimmy Neutron. So, don't judge me. I watch a lot of kids shows. Don't judge me, you guys. I freaking love cartoons. I still get up on Saturday mornings and go to the Cartoon Network because they don't have so I still get up and I watch cartoons. I love cartoons. Okay, don't judge me. Move on. Let's move on. So this picture with Steph is like my heartthrob, because look where he's at. He's in Oscar's house. I love this. He says, keep your jokes to yourself. Had to check out my man Oscar's digs. Fun day on Sesame Street. Catch our visit in the new episode streaming now. So guess what I'm gonna do in the middle of the day today? I'm going to watch this episode. I'm so excited about this. Okay. Nobody in the chat is with me on this one. That's fine. I will watch Sesame Street alone. It's no problem. It's no problem. My best Shannon Sharp. It's no problem, Skip. It's no problem. It's fine.
Jackie, this is the second thing that you're alone on watching, so you're going to have to report back to all of us. We still are waiting for your riveting review of the Rudy Gobert story.
I'm still waiting.
Next up.
I'm still waiting to find it, but I will tell y'all tomorrow about this episode of Sesame Street, because I love it. I love it.
All right.
I can't wait. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't touch me. Anyway, let's move on. And plus, there's so many talents. So that's the other reason why I like Sesame Street. They always have these big name musical talents that come on and sing with the puppets and stuff. It's dope, you guys. Get into it. I don't care. Anyway, so let me move on to this next one. Because this next one, I was like, wait, what? Because it was like, oh, she created this rice art. So when they say this, I'm thinking, okay, she's going to be like somewhere cooking. So I want to show you this still because I was like, she not in no kitchen. How is she going to make this rice art? So it says she made this MORANT piece out of rice. And I'm like, okay, maybe she like individually stuck the rice kernels on this poster board or something. No, y'all watch this. And this is talent squared. Take a look.
Wow.
How do you even calculate? That's oh, Donnie, my guy, I see you in the chat. He gave us $5 and said, I still watch the original Power Rangers. So if people have a problem, that's their problem. I'm with you. I love Power Rangers too. Look at us. He over here watching the old. I feel you, Donnie. You my guy. You are my guy. I appreciate you. Right, I just all day. I got a little too excited on that one. So let me go.
Jackie. I love this enthusiasm for children's cartoons. This is a side of you that I didn't know I needed, but I love it. So we've got Power Rangers, we've got Sesame Street. Cute. I love it. But also, really quickly, I want to just say that rice art was very, very impressive. And I've seen people doing this on the internet, spelling words and stuff like that, but I haven't seen it as a full-on art piece. But can you imagine you put so much time into setting all these little grains of rice and then you flip it and then that's it. It's over. There's no more art. Yeah. All that time. Right. I wonder how long it took her.
I don't know, but when I saw this, I was like, oh, Devin and I should do a rice challenge and we each should make art. And then I thought about it, I was like, I'm not about to sit there all day and calculate and put and then throw it up in the air. And then with my luck, the camera won't be on and then I'll have to do it over. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing any of that. That's a no for that. No. Right. Yeah. That's a no. But shouts out to this girl who did it anyway. That was beautiful. Now, look, I do think that this is just maybe a hard stop or maybe there was a technical difficulties. But this, when I tell you this annoyed the hell out of me, we just talked all wonderful about these ladies. And then this lady just cuts off my favorite rookie. I felt some type of way. Take a look.
I seen how LeBron was carrying himself, coaching his teammates, and everybody was playing their roles. So I told Kat about it. Me and Kat had a conversation.
Congrats, great game tonight. Thanks, Ant.
All right.
Anthony Edwards with a career high 42.
Oh. That was weird.
Man, and it was like so I'm going to give her a pass. I'm going to say that maybe some of them was her ear, like, we got to go to commercial right now. But the reason why I had to take that pass back is you had time to say Anthony Edwards with a career high of 42. And then whatever you said after that, you could have kept that and let him finish his answer. And then let's go to break. Look, let me tell you something. At 19, he's 19 years old and 226 days, right? So he is the third youngest player in NBA history to score 40 points or more in a game, trailing only LeBron James and Kevin Durant. You give that boy his damn time. You give him his time. I don't know who she is, but I need her to not interview anybody else again. I did have one comment from somebody who said, takes his time to give y'all an interview and y'all do him like this, shaking my head. And again, people were like, oh, it wasn't her fault, blah, blah, blah. It was probably, I don't care. I don't care. This man is out here setting a record and you cut him off like that. Inappropriate. I don't like it. Boo. That's all I have to say about that one. What did you think about that, Devin?
Well, okay, so even on our live show, since we've started doing things remotely, there were times where I had a delay and I was relying on our producer to let me know when I could start talking again. And sometimes there was like a little bit of overlap there. But I remember whenever I became aware of that overlap, it was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off or whatever. And you guys have witnessed it. You witnessed it, Jackie, like it's happened before. And sometimes mistakes happen, but it was the weird way she kind of just was like, thank you so much, like, see you later. And then didn't even take any time to acknowledge or even reflect on whether or not she had potentially cut him off. Very, very strange. And I felt bad for him. You could tell he was like, oh, okay. It was really weird.
Yeah, and just it just kind of sucked the life out of his moment. Like he clearly put some thought into what he was going to say. You can tell by the way he was like, yeah, I saw how LeBron was, and he really had a thought process into what he wanted to say. Adam said disrespectful and churlish. I love the Key and Peele reference. That's fantastic. But I just don't like when you kind of suck the energy out of young people. Like this, he's 19. He's out here the third fastest to do this. This is crazy. So, I don't know. I think they owe him an apology and be like, hey, let's get you back on for a full interview. That's what I would do if it was my network. I would just be like, hey, we missed it. Let's get you back on here. Let's do a sit down interview with just the two of us or something like that. But you got to make this right. That was just so wrong. Yeah. And he just like, oh, okay. Like I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Go ahead, Devin.
No, I agree with you 1000%. It was really, that was painful to watch. But Jackie, before you go into what we're not going to do, I just want to mention some other new trade updates for us. Are you done with post up? Post up's over, right?
I want to hear these trades. Come on, let's get it.
Okay, so we have George Hill going to OKC, Mo Harkless to the Kings, Norman Powell to Portland, for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. Is there anything in there that you are particularly excited about, Jackie, or are you just kind of like still waiting to see what else is happening?
I'm waiting to see what the Lakers do. And of course what happens with Kyle. But I do like that George Hill trade. I like that a lot. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Look, feel free when I get into this, what we not gonna do, feel free to stop everything if you get a Kyle Lowry update, because that's what I am waiting for. Just be like, oh, that. That's gonna be the universal sign for stop. And then I will stop, and then you can give me this update.
Okay, sounds good.
But right now, let's get into this what we not gonna do, guys, because this. Let me just start off. I know I usually save my what we not going to do and give you the point and drive it home at the end, but I'm just going to drive it home for you right now in case some of y'all have to dip out for whatever reason. So what we not going to do is act like some folks in this world don't deserve to be snatched up for whatever reason. And it just doesn't make sense. I'm getting tired of seeing all these videos because we're seeing these videos because y'all ain't doing nothing about these people acting stupid. Y'all take that how you want to take it, but that's how I feel about the situation. And y'all know that Chase Claypool is one of my favorite NFL players, mainly because I follow him on TikTok. And the way that he is on TikTok, he's just a cool dude with his family, his teammates. He's funny, he's fun, very lighthearted, very, very positive individual. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. He's a very positive individual. And he's a very lovable guy. So if you're on TikTok, make sure you go follow him because he's dope. That being said, he was in Costa Mesa, and Costa Mesa Police Department has launched this investigation about a fight. So it happened at a bar. I forget the name of the bar's name, but let me just kind of break down Costa Mesa for you if you guys don't know. It doesn't have a lot of hue out in Costa Mesa, and I feel like they kind of like it like that. Personally, that's how they are. It's just I've been to Costa Mesa several times, and it's not a place I would personally want to live just because it doesn't fit my narrative. So I just personally wouldn't want to live out there. But nonetheless, that's where Chase and his people went, and I'm not mad at that. If that's where your people want to go, if they want to hang out, that's cool. But first and foremost, you're hanging out at a place called the Wild Goose Tavern in Costa Mesa. The name itself lets you know there's going to be problems, in my opinion. My dad always like, hey, if the name says things going to get crazy, think that things are going to get crazy and don't go in. So
been there.
Go ahead. You've been there?
I've been there before, and it's actually a cool spot. So I'm shocked to learn that anything weird happened. But yeah, it's actually kind of a cool spot, minus the dead animal heads that are all around the walls. Not a huge fan of that.
What I looked up, that's exactly what it looks like. And so when I see something that looks kind of like a hunting lodge, I think about like these lodges where old folks used to go and talk about lynching people. That's just me, but I've just seen too many stories like that. So for me, I'm like, why does this look like a hunting lodge? Because I Googled it and I was like, I would never party there. But if Devin says it's cool, now we understand why Chase was there, because he was with a group of his friends. And apparently this whole altercation happened inside the bar where somebody was pissed off because somebody else was throwing money at women. I couldn't figure out who was throwing the money. I mean, theoretically, it would make sense if Chase was throwing the money because I would imagine that he probably has the most money out of everybody that is in this situation, but can't confirm or deny that. I just know that it started over somebody throwing money at women. And then they ended up, I think, leaving on their own, but the whole group left. So Chase and his people left. The people that they were arguing with, they all moved outside. So when they move outside, if you guys want to see the video, you'll have to check it out on TMZ because we can't show it here. So I'm just going to break it down for you. But when they move outside, Chase is unbothered. He's just kind of walking along like, this is stupid, do. And he remains unbothered even when it turns into a fight, which was probably one of the most ridiculous fights I've ever seen in a long time. It wasn't really a fight. It was more of a, let me drunkenly fall into you while my hand is also in motion. It was like, it wasn't a really good fight at all. So it wasn't anything that I think Chase needed to take seriously. And so he just didn't. He kind of just stood back and watched until his friend falls on the ground. And then when his friend falls on the ground, some other guy gets on top of his friend. So Chase goes over at that point and then snatches dude off of his friend. And then guy goes back, Chase snatches him off one more time, and this time with force. And when he snatches him off with force, people get mad. So Chase walks off. And when he walks off, the guy that he snatched off of his friend comes at him. Oh, no. So the second time he snatched him off, he kicked dude in the face. So, again, you should have just left his friend alone after he snatched you off the first time. You went back. Chase kicked you in the face. So when he kicks him in the face, now people push Chase away. And so Chase is kind of walking away. The dude that he kicks in the face decides, okay, you're not getting away with this. So he runs at Chase, kind of like I'm mimicking right now. He runs at Chase and tries to hit him. And Chase just kind of moves and he falls on the ground. And Chase takes that moment to remind his face that that's the pavement and that is where you should stay. So this whole thing to me is it went exactly how it should have went. Because what you're not going to do is get my friend in a vulnerable position on the ground and you are on top of them looking like you might hit them. That's not what we're doing. We're not doing that. I was cool to let y'all squabble while you're standing up. But the second you got my guy on the ground, now I got to step in and now we have a problem. So the police want to investigate this situation. And I just don't think it warrants a full-on investigation because I think this is one of those lessons my uncle used to teach me. He's like, don't start anything if you don't want there to be anything. And if you start something, then expect there to be something. So if you didn't want to fight, Chase is like 6'4", 200 and something. He's big. He's a big dude. Thank you, Devin. 238 pounds. He's a big dude. You about yay high. You probably don't even come up. This guy was little. This is not a fight that you start. You need to pick your battles, as my dad said. You got to, if this isn't a fight you think you can win, then don't pick it. Don't go lunging at this tower and then fall and then expect him not to remind you why you shouldn't do this. So what we're not going to do is pretend that some people don't need laying on of hands in the name of, if that's what y'all want to do, but some people need to catch these hands. This guy caught him. I'm okay with this. I'm hoping that the police look at the investigation or take this investigation and probably see the video inside and see that it was just a lot of trash talking that went outside and then one group got physical or whatever and just dismiss it. A good old fashioned bar fight. It's just a good old-fashioned bar fight sometimes. I think you should let it go. But I am very much stop recording these people and do what you got to do. But that's just me. Y'all take it as you want. But I better not see any charges against Chase Claypool because I will be so mad. Devin, how do you feel about the situation? I know you saw the video. How did you feel about that situation? That man needed them hands. And now he'll do better in the future. I feel like this is a community service on behalf of Chase. He's going to be better going into his future.
Yeah, Chase should get some community service hours for that moment there. But no, I think that if Chase was not an instigator, that's what the reports say and what people who were there say. So I think that alone, I mean, yeah, if somebody's coming at your friend or if there's like a big brawl going on and you're kind of getting sucked into the middle of it, you can't just sit back and, let somebody come at you. I feel like I totally agree with you. It was a justified situation there. And I don't think he was at fault at all. I'm just shocked that it happened at this place. And like, I was literally just there. It's so weird to me that there was this all-out
it's a cool bar. Because like I said, I only saw the pictures that I saw online. And online, I was like, oh, hell no. Why was he even there?
Yeah, no, it's actually a cool spot. Yeah, I don't like the decoration, but it's a cool spot and they have really good food and the drinks are really good. So I don't know. It's very strange that it was getting so like ratchet.
Are the drinks cheap? That's a good question. Are the drinks cheap?
Well, here's what I've noticed. Orange County in general has much cheaper drinks than LA, but if you compare this to anywhere else in the world, it's going to seem expensive anyway. You know, but I got like a cocktail for $12 and the same cocktail would have cost me $19 in LA. You know how that is?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a bar here in LA that I go to. It's literally walking distance from my house, but when you walk in, you just walk in and you know there's probably going to be problems because it just has that whole vibe. It has that whole kind of rednecky vibe, but you go in there because like if I usually get an apple martini or a shot of honey jack whiskey. Those are my drinks, right? A shot of honey jack whiskey anywhere else is going to cost me about $9 and my martini is going to cost me about $12 to $13. You can get a shot down there for like $5 and your apple martini is like $6. So when I tell you people be like walking out of there, like, so that's why there's always problems because people be like, oh, when you go to places that have cheap drinks, just know there's going to be problems.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point, Jackie. I don't think this place, I mean, it's not so cheap that people are just like throwing money out the window, but I don't know. Very interesting, but yeah, I don't think that charges should be filed on Chase either. So weird. Yeah. Strange story. You guys, we're going to have more trade updates coming to the channel, and we're going to break everything down tomorrow as well. So make sure you guys tune in, pay attention to what videos are going up today, and then we're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we will see you guys later. Bye, everybody.